Hello, good morning. It's now about 20 to 4 in the morning on Thursday, the 3rd of June. I'm up very early because I'm starting my 400-kilometre DIY audax for this year at 5 AM this morning. My 400 is my third ride in my planned Super Randonneur series for this year. A Super Randonneur series consists of 200, 300, 400 and 600 kilometre rides. They're the only rides I really intend to ride officially as DIY audaxes this year. I'm just going to do the 4 and that will be it. So today's number 3 out of 4. Today then, when I leave here at 5, I'll be setting off northwards to Tewkesbury, where I normally have breakfast, but because of COVID restrictions I'm unsure whether that's going to be feasible, which is why I've had breakfast here before leaving. And that also allows me more time on the road. If you think about it, I won't be spending an hour stopping for breakfast. After Tewkesbury then, heading west over through Newent, Ross-on-Wye, Hay-on-Wye, Bilth-Wells, then the big loop to Lanarkshire Wells, which is said to be the smallest town in Britain, although Fordage in Kent disputes that. And then down to Llandovery, where I hope to get an evening meal of some sort. Again, probably not going to be sitting in, it may just be a bag of sausage and chips outside. And then the evening, then the night leg back from Llandovery. Somewhere around the 200-mile mark I'm going to be sleeping, hopefully in a church porch. I've street mapped a possible place. There used to be a really good bus shelter, but a couple of years ago I turned up there just as it was raining and it had been knocked down. As well as allowing myself some sleep on this ride, it means I won't be arriving home in the very early hours of the morning tomorrow and disturbing my wife. I've said it in previous videos about long audaxes, so I'll just repeat it. I've found through personal experience round about 300 kilometres plus about 10%. It's not exact, but that's round about the ballpark. I just start suffering rapidly from sleep fatigue, so it just makes sense. I've got 28 hours, why not use them? And so I sleep. I'll be taking my bivy bag and a sleep mat and an inflatable pillow, a blackout mask, sort of thing you get on aeroplanes, and also a space blanket just to put down to protect it all really. Again, I've mentioned this before, I had quite a bad experience on Paris in 2015. I just got to a sleep control and just asked someone, just said an arbitrary time, whatever it was, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, can you wake me up? And they woke me up out of a deep sleep and I was really disorientated and confused. And to be honest, I was a bit scared. It just took me a while to suddenly realise where I was. And then that thought struck me, oh no, I'm really sore, I'm tired, I ache all over and I've still got 350 miles to go. I came home and did quite a bit of research on the subject and realised you can use sleep to your advantage if you understand it. I'm not going to go into what I learned on this video, but I will put a couple of really useful links in the description below. There are sites based on science, but you don't need a PhD to understand it. It's written in terms which the normal person can understand, but it is science backed. So again, I'll drop those 2 links in the description below. Ever since 2015, all through my Super Randonneur around the year series I did in 2015 into 2016, and since then I've been using sleep strategies and I've found the benefit is just far outweigh the weight you carry in the bike, for the sleep kit, and also any time you lose on the road you more than make it up. And the great thing is, on a 400, my wife said to me, since you arrive home looking quite fresh instead of looking more dead than alive as you used to do. Again, as my last vlog I did on the 300 recently, I'm not going to do much filming on the road. I'll just do vlog type reports at strategic points along the road, so I'll see you on the road. It's just coming up to 6 AM and I'm approaching my junction point. There's a big loop I'm now doing, so I've just ridden up from Bath to this point. I'm now turning right and I'm heading up towards Tewkesbury this way.
and 200 odd miles time I'll be coming back that way from the Severn Bridge. I wonder how I feel like this time tomorrow. It's now about 8:10 and I'm just riding on a cycle path around the outskirts of Gloucester. A couple of things worth noting here. I just bumped into my mate Richard Clements. We both used to race up down the A38 in our 20s, back in the 1980s. He does a lot of DIYs now, so we just had a bit of a laugh comparing notes. He's just off to work. Round about here, the last time I rode this 400 route, 2018 I think, I had a rear wheel blowout. I'll talk more about the outcome of that later on when I get into Mid Wales, because it did prove very problematic. Anyway, pressing on up to Tewkesbury, then I'll hang a left over the River Severn, head westwards into Wye Valley and Wales. I'm now on this leg between Tewkesbury and Ross-on-Wye in Herefordshire, and this is just what I've missed so much over lockdown. Oh, the lovely landscape, the pastel-y patchwork of fields. Feeling okay actually. I had a pizza slice and a sausage roll and a bottle of Coke in Tewkesbury, which was really nice. It's now 1:45 and I'm at Wormlow on the long slog over to Hay-on-Wye. I just had to stop with a queue of cars to give way to trains. The barriers were down, but it reminded me of a funny story on a 300 I did over to the East Coast a few years ago. There was a level crossing. It must have had about 4 or 5 tracks on it, and it took several minutes. You know, it didn't just wait for one train. The barrier stayed down, and after several minutes there was a massive queue of cars, and I was just like, I just let them go, you know, I don't want a big queue of cars behind me. The very last one went through. I just got my bike and the barriers came back down for several more minutes. Anyway, going to carry on up here. I'm going to be passing Lock's Garage very soon. I may pop in there for an ice cream. Most audax riders who ride the events out of Tewkesbury will know Lock's Garage is a popular control. It's 3:15 now and I'm stopped at Glasbury. That's just beyond Hay-on-Wye, and it's just about to get really scenic, the route, as I head up towards Builth Wells. After Tewkesbury then, I went north, literally 1/4 mile, you turn left and then left again, and that's where the turn is. You start heading westwards through the Wye Valley, and now I'm going to be heading to Mid Wales. I did stop at Ross-on-Wye. It was already getting very hot there. I just needed to top up with a big bottle of water and a fizzy drink, and that's what I'm doing here actually at this garage. Earlier on then I referred to having a blowout on a cycle path around Gloucester, so when you get there, to avoid all the rush hour traffic, there's some really good pavement type cycle paths, and that's where I bumped into Richard actually, who's going to work. The previous time I did this, I think it's 2018, I had a rear tyre blowout on that. The tyre just went bang, and I just thought possibly a nail, because I was really looking forward to breakfast. My own fault really, I probably didn't scrutinise the tyre enough. My first thought was that a bit of glass or a nail had gone through. Once I sort of spun the tyre and realised it hadn't, I sort of didn't give it a lot more thought. One of my inner tubes had gone. I still had 2 left, one the replacement nan back wheel and the spare. Shortly after this section, as I was heading up towards Builth Wells, about 15 miles before, the rear wheel just exploded again. I thought, what on earth's happening? I knew something was amiss, so I put my remaining inner tube in, and I suddenly saw it bulging out, this big split in the tyre, and I quickly hit the valve and let the air out. And to cut a long story short, it was late afternoon, and I booted the tyre with plenty of puncture patches, just hoping it would hold and I considered turning around and heading back, and I thought no, head towards Bilth, because at least there's going to be accommodation there if I have to abandon. As I got into Bilth, I asked someone if there's a bike shop. They directed me to this bike shop, and it was just about to close, and the owners were really friendly. They saw I was in trouble. They helped me out, sold me a new tyre, 2 new inner tubes. I was able to press on. It did eat seriously into my sleep stop, but that was such a close call. If I'd got that shop after closing time, I couldn't have carried on. I'd have literally had to get a bed and breakfast there and then try and sort myself out the next morning. So yeah, quite brings back some memories, this route. That's the garage I've just stopped at. I'm just crossing the river now. You can see the tips of the Brecon beacons sticking above the hills there. I'm just going to be going along here and turning left, and the route starts to get really spectacular now as I do a big looping effect over to Llandovery around the other side of the Brecon beacons. I'll be passing up north, coming back south. From Glasbury, you run along a minor road that's running towards Bilth on the left hand side of the River Wye. Then suddenly, without you realising it, it becomes the course of an old railway, and this is it, leading up to Irwood. It's gorgeous along here. So the River Wye's on the left. On the other side of that is an A road going up to Bilth, but we avoid that altogether. Go along here a few miles to Irwood station, where there's a craft centre, and then you join a B road for a few miles, undulating miles into Bilth Wells. It's now 20 to 7 and I'm in between Llanurtrid Wells, the smallest town in Britain, the title of this ride, and Llandovery. In fact, I'm just approaching a summit where I'm going to plunge down shortly. I'm at Sugarloaf stop on the railway there, and you may see I'm on my red thorn audax. The reason for that really is the wheels on the back have got more spokes on them. I just feel a little bit more comfortable about putting the big Super C saddlebag on that. That's the large capacity one. That means I just got everything I need in there for an overnighter. My bivvy, warm clothes, leg warmers, arm warmers, cape, everything. And also it's got down tube levers on. I know it's very retro and not very trendy, but I just know from experience if a cable goes on one of those, it's a lot easier to replace it. Having said that, earlier in the spring I was doing a 200-kilometre ride and I was on my Bluethorn, which has got STI levers, and the front gear cable snapped on that and I was able to replace it. I lost my STI cherry. That's the first time I've ever replaced an STI cable on the road, but I still feel more comfortable with these on really longer rides. I've just had to put arm warmers on and my gilet back on. The wind's been against me all the way, really, from Tewkesbury westwards. I'm going to plunge down shortly. It's going to be quite nippy, so I put arm warmers on and the gilet for that. And I'm hoping I'm going to benefit from a tailwind when I do my turn, because I'm going to be turning at Llandovery after I've had some hot food. The remainder of the ride will be eastwards, so I'm hoping I'm going to benefit from this westerly wind. I aim to bivvy somewhere around about midnight. I've got a place in mind actually. I street view the church porch. Whether it's usable and whether I'll get there at the right time, I don't know, but I've got that and a few bus stop options. It's now 10:15 and I'm at a garage in Brecon. The slog from Tewkesbury over to Llandovery was actually into a headwind which steadily got worse all afternoon. Not unbearable, but it definitely took its toll. when I got to Llandovery, the cafe I was looking to eat in, its advertised as being up till 8 p.m. It was closed. Went in the shop, stocked up some water. Really nice, friendly girl told me where there was a chip shop. Went down, they had some seats outside. It was very safe. It had a one-way system, only two in at a time, masks and everything. And then when I left Llandovery, just the difference in pace was just phenomenal. It just even going up the long hill out of even going up the long hill out of Llandovery before we dropped under Brecon was so easy, to be honest, with the tailwind. Now going to press on to Abergavenny. There's a church I'm looking at bivvying in around about midnight. I'm not quite sure if I'll get there before midnight, or I may even press on. I don't know. I know there's some bus shelters at Raglan I've used before. Then there's also bus shelters heading over towards Shep. So I'll just see when TARDIS hits, and then I'll bivvy. It's bang on 1 a.m. and I'm in an old favourite bus shelter which doubles up as a local micro library. Got my sleep system down. I had street mapped a church about 5 miles before here, but when I got there it was all fenced off and there's nowhere I was going to trespass, so I pressed on here. I knew this was here anyway. I got 42 miles left to do. I should easily do that in 6 hours, but I'm going to set the alarm, I think, for 90 minutes. Well, after I've got in bed, so I'll allow myself 90, 100 minutes just for 10 minutes to get off. I just I know I'll be stiff when I set off, and then there's a long climb up towards Shire Newton before I drop down to Chepstow. Anyway, 90 minutes sleep. I'll see you when I wake up. It's now 3 minutes past 3. I've been up about 15 minutes, got everything packed away. I'm just about to leave. I've got about 6 hours and 3 minutes remaining to do 42 miles. Hopefully that's going to be enough. It's always a little bit nervy when you sleep and you give up some of your surplus, but you know, that's what a surplus is for. Anyway, hit the road. I'm going to be hitting the long climb up over towards Chepstow in a few miles time. Hopefully that's going to warm me up a bit. I've been going about 5 minutes, so it's about 10 past 3 now, and I'm looking over in the east and it's already getting light already. It's lighter than the camera's indicating. In fact, it's never really got dark overnight. Just really does show how short the night times are this time of the year. Anyway, press on towards Chepstow. Well, it's just gone 6 a.m. and I'm back at Frampton Cotterell T-junction. It's now Saturday morning. I'm editing the footage that I shot the other day. I suddenly realised I've lost the summing up bit I did at the end at Frampton Cotterell Junction. So it's quite fantastic to get back there. Had about 13 miles left to ride. Had something like 3 hours to do that in, so barring accidents, I was going to manage it. I arrived home feeling quite fresh actually. That final mile, when you sort of see the Garmin click down from 1 to 0.9 to go, is just mind blowing. It feels so good. So I got home, stitched all the files together because there was 5 in total, just made sure I managed the complete distance, and I had by over a kilometre. And that was it. My third of my 4 qualifying rides for the Super Randonneur series. Next up, hopefully next week, is going to be my Fossway ride. I haven't booked anything yet. I've never left anything like this late. Hopefully going to book the travel lodges sometime over the weekend, then pop into town and buy my train tickets, because I think I'll need to see someone face to face to book my bike onto a train. So hopefully the next video you see will be the Fossway, but from my 400 vlog. Thanks very much for watching, and look after each other. See you soon.